Hello, this is my review of a Peugeot 208, a pretty new one that I got from a rental place in Italy because I'm on holiday in Italy, and it's a free upgrade. I was meant to have the cheapest car they have and I managed to get this, a Peugeot 208. It's a standard one. I believe it's the 1.5 petrol. It definitely has a wet belt, I've already checked. So let's start with the good. It handles really well, actually. I was very surprised. The steering is actually incredibly responsive. Very surprised about that. And it just doesn't have any roll. Like it feels way too sporty for what it is. Like way too sporty. Where the fuck do I go now? You know what I'm gonna do? Go to sat nav on. One thing I was pleasantly surprised with is the exhaust noise. It actually is pretty good. If I downshift, which is a pain, but if I do, it's not easy to hear, but it's got a really nice rumble. They made a 3-cylinder sound like half of a V6 actually, and it sounds really good. But I've also discovered it's only on the inside you hear it, but it's not pumped in through speakers or anything, because they only do that on the sport models. So I think they just have very little insulation between the engine and you, I'm going to assume, because on the outside this thing sounds horrible. Build quality, number one, it's really not that good. I generally would say never buy any Stellantis product. This car has so many parts that are literally 25 years old. For example, the cruise control stalk. I had the exact same one in my 2001 Zara. It's the same thing, and it feels horrible. It feels plasticky. The old Com 2000 unit actually used to feel quite nice. This one feels horrible. I find it really hard to turn off the high beams because you have to put tons of effort into them to turn them off. You have to do it very intentionally. Otherwise, you just do the first click, which doesn't do anything. If you buy a Sandero, you're going to get the same thing almost, but you know it's cheap. You know you're going to have those hard plastics. In this car, they fool you into thinking it's going to be nice, but it really isn't. On the boot, like the bonnet looks really misaligned, the boot looks really misaligned. Nothing really aligns that well in general. There's hard bits of plastic underneath the dash that don't look aligned at all. It's just very disappointing. The boot carpet and floor, it's just one thin layer of something, and you can move it around. It doesn't really fit in there very nicely, and underneath it you just don't even get a spare tire. It's just a big cavern, which is really disappointing because they could very easily fit one in there. There's no reason they couldn't. I do have to say it handles really well around these corners. I'm very impressed. But it does give you this false sense of security. When you break traction, it just happens. It doesn't really communicate it too well. But till it breaks traction, it's really nice. What's good is in this car you do get a horrible electric handbrake, but also you do get lovely big mirrors. I have to say the visibility of this thing's amazing, and it does have one of those 360 looking sensors all around. And what's really nice is they activate on their own if you're going slow enough. So something I always have to do in my Skoda, for example, is I have to reverse if I want to make sure that I'm not going to hit something in front of me, because the car otherwise doesn't turn them on. There is actually a button for it as well, but in this car it just does it. So if you're doing anything below like 5 miles an hour, it just does it automatically. They just come on. And I really like that actually. One of those cars that's really easy to park, really easy to maneuver. You can see everything. The windows are actually still decently sized for a modern car. Another thing I love is the very adjustable seat. It goes up, down, leans forwards, everything. It's not very comfortable, it's cheap, but at least you can adjust it in so many ways. And this steering wheel is also very adjustable, up, down, and it leans as well. It's and backwards and forwards quite a lot. Makes it very easy to get used to be honest. This car is quite nice to sit in. I don't really have a problem with it. I think Peugeot have managed to make something really special here. Like it feels really nice when you first get into this car. When I first sat in it, I was like, this is really, I didn't expect it to be so nice. But I think when you use it, you do sort of discover all the shortcomings this car has, and it does have quite a few. All the plastics, cheap, horrible, hard, not very nice. Infotainment system, actually really solid in many ways, but it has a real issue, which is it just lacks features. I don't really see why I have 2 screens here. The central screen, I know it's just there to make it cheaper. That's all it's there for. because I can change the modes and it changes between dials, simple, and like some other crap you can put on there, but it just doesn't really do anything, and it doesn't look very good. It's also very small. It's really hard to tell what RPM you're doing because it's really laggy. The main screen has this horrible animation. It plays every single time, only when you go to the home screen again. The home thing is, you have to go to the home screen if you want to go to Android Auto, if you want to change your climate controls, anything. If you want to do anything, you have to go to the home screen. So every single time you want to change anything while you're driving, let's say, which is debatable if you should or shouldn't, but it just comes up with this like 3-second animation for no good reason. It doesn't need to be there, but it's just there every single time. You can't turn it off. I have to say, the speakers in this car are not very good. You can clearly hear them coming from the front of the car, and then there's nothing in the rear. And I've played around with the settings, and there's not much you can change. Obviously, treble bass, that's pretty much all you can do, and you can change balance, but not by much. It doesn't seem to do much. It just doesn't sound very good. It sounds very cheap, and I am suspicious that the passenger door speaker is already rattling. There could just be something there that's loose, but there's something rattling in that corner already when music's playing. Very disappointing. Another thing I have to talk about is the suspension is not that great. So it doesn't have any roll, which is nice. It's kind of alright actually for spurted driving, and it's very stiff, but it's too stiff. It's very not. It's very. Well, that was a good example, by chance, but it's just too stiff. French cars usually have very nice soft suspension, and this is the exact opposite. Every single bump you feel it really hard, and it's very crashy. Part of it is probably because it's a very cheap suspension, but it's just too cheap. It feels like a Volkswagen Up feels very similar, and that's a much lower class vehicle, to me at least. Some bits really annoy me, like, where's my armrest? This one just moves forwards, and that's it. You can't adjust it up at all, which seems crazy to me. All Peugeots I've ever been in have had really good armrests. I would find that PSA is just very good for it. Also, for me, it's completely impossible to heel and toe in this car. The throttle is way too hidden in the corner and really far away from the brake pedal. It's almost made to be impossible, which is a complete deal breaker for me. Also, the shifter from new feels worse than any of my very high mileage cars. It's very sloppy, even when in gear, and the shifts are stupidly long. I don't understand why it would be beneficial apart from not bothering with better tolerances. The drivability aspect of this car seems very lazily designed. The boot is hard to shut without getting your hands dirty. And finally, the wet belt, which immediately makes this car impossible to recommend to anyone. It's made to be disposable, and that makes me very mad. It's been a good holiday rental car. I don't mind it, it's charming, but I can't recommend it. The verdict is, I wouldn't recommend it, really. Mainly because of the wet belt. And because of that, I wouldn't recommend most Stellantis products, really. They seem to be put together without much care. Old Peugeots and old Citroens used to be very, very well made, but that has definitely changed. I'm going to stick to my old cars. Look at it, there's a little Twingo there, look at it. See, I would much prefer to be in one of those.